I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
Many of you might be panicking if you have a senior in high school or even a junior in high school, and they don't seem like they're going to be college material. Or maybe your finances are saying, well, I don't know if I can afford college education for my child. How will they survive? Well, we're launching a series on careers that you can have that don't require a college degree. And there's so many things that are being done in our society that need to be done that people pay good money for. And you don't have to go to a 4-year institution. Well, one of those things is very common. Now, if you own property, you're going to always need somebody to repair it. There's always electricity, plumbing, roofing, carpentry, always something that needs to be done in your home. And these are jobs that pay good money. And the training does not require 4 years in a college institution. So you might have a child that has an aptitude or an interest in this kind of thing. And rather than be stuck on, they got to go to college, listen to your child, observe their interest, and think of other things that they may want to master and be a professional at. So today, our guest comes to us as one who has connections with many in the construction industry. So sisters, we want to open the minds of many who may be looking at some alternatives to college and some very profitable industries that have to do with construction. So I want to welcome to our show my dear brother, Omar Shareef, president of the African American Contractors Association. Thank you so much for being our guest.
And thank you for having me this evening. I really appreciate what you ladies are doing in the community, in the world. It's very important. It's well needed from an individual that have come from a single parent, which happened to be a lady that raised 6 men and 3 women. And so I really appreciate what you ladies are really doing for yourself, for the community, and just talking truth to power in that sense. So that other young ladies and men can learn. You know, men can learn too, because the fact of the matter, there's some men out there that's taking care of their kids and don't know which way to go, don't know which way is up. So I really appreciate just having this dialogue with you this evening. Thank you for having me.
Yes, well, thank you for all you do. Now, I know that there are a lot of people who are wondering what all involves it. I look at building a whole house. With the African American Contractors Association, what are some of the trades that are involved in the construction industry?
Well, there's quite a few. 18 to 19 of them comes to my mind that homeowners deal with on a regular basis. And that is flooring, painting, roofing, plastering, patching, plumbing, electrical work, as well as dealing with extermination, as well as termites. You know, in regards to extermination, we have had some good young men and women that are in the exterminating business. So those trades are very key to maintaining a viable and a healthy home. You know, you never really realize how a home or a place need to be lived in until you vacate one and see how it just be deteriorated and fall down. The plastering start coming off, the walls start sweating, the floor start popping up, the sink and the pipes start leaking. So those are some of the things that happen. But guess what? The ones that fix it, they can go from rags to riches overnight. And what I mean by that is that they can be a plumber that can go from anywhere from a minimum wage job to making $60 and $70 an hour. Pipe fitters, they make almost $80, $90 an hour. That's union. Non-union probably make half of that because they kind of beat the market out. But that's serious money. I'm saying a young man or a woman that does not have a degree, that do not go to college, can make 72.90 an hour just being a laborer, a flagger, based on the Davis Bacon costs. You know, that's the wages that we use under the federal guidelines.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's interesting that because of the current administration, there are going to be a lot of work that's going to be needed, because a lot of the people who come and do some of this work, the actual laborers, are undocumented. I know, or even if they are
Yeah,
not documented, they are still going to, they maybe have some troubles. And so
I
now
can't hear you.
for people to start
Yeah, I
thinking
hear you now.
about that.
Good. Yeah. Yes, and that's one of the things that we were looking at, the fact that you have a lot of people that are coming here with skills, but they're undocumented. So Omar, do some people, and I've seen this happen, do some people tend to look at hiring undocumented workers so they can pay them less? Because you did mention,
Yeah, yeah,
skill is different.
they do that. They definitely hire young men and women that they may not have to pay the lesser wages sometime. But the only thing with that you got young black men and women have that. Do you believe I had started my business with $100?
Wow.
$100. I hit the street, passing out flyers, looking for jobs, going door to door. When I went to the Beverly project over there in the Beverly community, hell, I had to climb up all those steps. Now in Beverly, they got like sitting on a mountain. Those steps to put one flyer in there, one plumber or whatever.
Wow.
And some people don't want to do it, but I took the chance because guess what? That one plumber, one flyer from a call came out of it. And to tell you a story that it did do that, because the fact that I put a plug in one lady's house over there on 6 in Marquette there, it gave me a catch basin job. That catch basin job was a job that I had ability in.
He's breaking a little.
Yeah, you're breaking up a
Well,
little.
you know, I had a friend who actually did this very innovative thing. He went around
Greektown,
getting
and then I
jobs
was looking for
from,
after having a good time, I was
oh,
looking
is
for
he
another
back?
7 base job. And from that, it evolved me other projects.
Yeah, you broke up a
So
little
those
bit.
are
I
things
think
that
a little
can
bit of what you said. Yeah.
those
Well,
are
I
the
was
things
going
that
to
actually can
comment
happen for
that,
you in the community.
okay.
And so from that, you kind of build on that. A young man or young woman that lives in your home may be good with fixing something. I talked to about 40 or 50 young men and women Friday, right? And I was explaining to them that sometimes God gives us the will of understanding what we may have naturally that you benefit from. And what I mean by that, is that you can have a young man in the community that knows how to repair stuff in your home, or a young lady that knows how to sew, that could be a good seamstress.
Yes. Yeah. I know he's kind of moving around because I think he's actually coming from a job to do.
Well, now, one of my friends did one of these things that I found very innovative and pretty brave. He went around collecting people's information so that he could work. He said, I'm starting a carpentry business. and I'm vacuuming, but I don't have business cards yet. So he went to like the dime store and got these index cards and wrote his name and number on them and said, I haven't gotten my business cards yet, but this is my name, this is my number, and my establishment is getting started. And he actually started from scratch. I mean, seriously, nothing. And went door to door in the neighborhood, introducing himself, saying what his business was, giving them this index card. And he got people actually calling him. He didn't even have a vacuum cleaner. He rented a vacuum cleaner from a company and went around vacuuming people's carpets and got himself established until he made enough money to get his own materials, his own tools, and real business cards. And I thought, now that's pretty brave.
Yeah, that's creative.
Well, you know what's also creative is going to neighborhoods where or using like the local newspaper, not the bigger newspaper, but the local community newspaper to get a one by one ad saying, you know, you need this. And especially in communities where you have an aging population, and a lot of
Yeah.
times they're looking for that work. Now, my house, I live in Boston, as you all know. My house is well over 100 years old, which means that there's always going to be something that needs to get done. Right now we need new carpets. We need new cabinets in the kitchen, because all of those things were just there when I bought the house uh, almost 30 years ago. So you know you're going to have, you know, and like Omar was saying, if you have a house, there's always going to, or Naima, there's always going to be something that's going to be needed done. You can buy a brand new house and you're still going to have work done. You know, mine was pretty much move-in condition, and I still had to come in and have some things installed. So these are the careers that people can be looking at, maybe if they're not that good at, you know, regurgitating facts, you know, from you know their schoolwork, but they're good with their hands, or they have a mind that can take apart electronics or plumbing and put it together. My plumber, I've told this story about him knocking on my door the first time that when I closed on the house when I was moving in, and the man across the street knocked on my door and said, you know, I'm a plumber, you know, my aunt and uncle used to live in this house. And, you know, and he's been my plumber ever since I moved in. I moved in 92. And I tell people all the time, well, my plumber came with my house. So, uh, so, and, you know, he does okay for himself. He's older now. He still does work when he can and when he wants to. And he goes on vacation every year to like Aruba. So he's doing fine. And this is someone who does not have a college degree, but he's one of the best people I know, and he has made a living as a plumber. He was one of those kids that someone said to him, you know, you guys, you know, they're just hanging out, they're teenagers, and he's saying, okay, you know, one of the old guys from the neighborhood says, you guys are going to learn a trade, and took him under his wing. Sometimes it starts like that. But I wanted, when Omar comes back, I wanted to talk to him about what other avenues, what trade schools or things like that, so that people who are interested, how do they get started?
And you know, a place that people might not recognize as some place to get free training is your library. They actually, I know at the library locally here in Jacksonville, they are always offering free trainings for anything from learning computer skills to actually landscaping skills, seamstress skills, all of the things that you recently named. They will have free training. They have things set up for retired seniors who may be looking for different types of part-time jobs. They may have college educations, they may not, but they offer these different training classes and courses that are free, usually in the morning, the afternoon, and the evening, all days of the week, to help out people who are looking for jobs in everything manageable, from learning how to stock things in a Home Depot to learning different skills about the items that are sold in a Home Depot. Sometimes they just need experts who know a little something, and that's helpful too. And you don't need a college degree for those types of positions either. So there are ways to find out the things that you love to do. You can go on the internet and find out where there are free trainings, free courses, different places that offer a lot of skilled laboring type of jobs and mental involving jobs where you sit at a desk and use your brain and learn how to maybe help someone do their taxes. All these kind of things are very needed. They don't require college degrees.
Yes, that's right. Well, Omar is back with us, and I know that there are a lot of people who want to know exactly what it takes to get to a point where you can have the skills to get hired. So Omar, tell us, when you first decided to go into business, and I know one of the things that you said, Barbara, is that, you know, the person that you knew,
No sound.
they were able to, yeah, there we go. Yes, wanted to make sure that that
People knew him.
Knew
He walked
him.
around with index cards with his name and number on them.
Yeah, something that basic. And Omar, you went around with flyers and advertised your services. But in terms of training or what you need now, of course, Robert, your friend, he was doing what, vacuum cleaning, whatever, which is a thing. But what kind of skilled labor or trade did you start out with when you first
started?
How did you get started? Yeah, there you go. How did you get started? Well, and what did you have to learn?
I started by shadowing with some individual that was a carpenter. All right. And actually, it was a friend of my sister's, and I started building porches. And out of building those back porches, I learned something. I learned that you have to measure well, you have to cut straight. So you measure twice and cut once.
Right.
If you get my point.
Absolutely.
And so you got to make sure you do that. And then once I discovered that some of the lumber yards already had prefabbed threads, those are the curve that you set the planks on to walk down the steps, right? So you didn't have to do that hard part. So I kind of sold that to the homeowners in the sense of understanding that we will build them back porches or front porches for their homes. But the real deal of it is that if you're trying to be a qualified contractor and a tradesman, there are some training that you may have to have. God just blessed me to do it naturally, but there are some particular trainings that you have to have dealing with the apprenticeship training program, as well as other things that you have to do. And sometimes you not just be a carpenter, a finished carpenter. You may want to be a cabinet maker. You see, those are different trades there. I have a young lady on the west side, Patricia Davis. That's all she do is cabinet fabrication. Oh, and wow. Her company is called Unique Casework.
Wow.
And she trained right there on 16th and Pulaski. And so she trains and helps young people in that community. And she actually bring them into the union because the union tells her that if you get a sponsor and they sign and give me a letter, I'll bring you right into the trade.
Wow. You know, that reminds me of a woman, they call her Miss Pat in our neighborhood. Yeah. And she had a dance studio and it started in her basement.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, yeah. And this lady happened to name be Patricia Davis. So yeah. Yeah. And so it's a lot of things that a young man or woman can do. We have put probably a sum of maybe 300 to 400 men and women into the flagging business.
Wow.
Most of it, the space was given to us at that time by Rainbow Push, Reverend Jackson. And he, what happened was that they kept coming into the side of Push, asking them to help them get a job. Reverend said, Omar, at some point you need to start having meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays and help some of these young men and women. This was before COVID, right? Precede COVID. So I started meeting with them on Tuesdays and Thursdays at Rainbow Push. After that, we got 20 young men, jobs making $72.90 an hour. 4 of them probably was ex-felons. One of them had just came out of Pontiac. The other one came out of Statesville during a 20-year hit, making $72 an hour.
Wow.
And ain't returned back to crime, and one of them started their own business.
Wow.
So, you know, we have to just take a little caring love like what you ladies are doing to say, hey, it's a better way, son. It's a better way, sister. You don't have to sell your body. You don't have to sell drugs. Don't allow them to make money off of you. If you say that you claim you don't like the white man, quit going to jail. You understand? Don't give them a reason. Yeah, because all you're doing is helping their industry. That's all you're doing. You're helping their industry thrive and thrive to the point that they taking care of their wife, they taking care of their family, they taking care of their dog, they sending their kids to private school to guess what? Be over you. That's what they're doing.
Now I got a question because I have a friend who had learned a trade while they were serving time, and they would send them out on jobs and things like that. I guess it's part of a prison work release program or something like that.
Right.
And I think he was doing might have been carpentry. But then when he got out of prison, he couldn't get hired because he had a criminal record. Yeah. So of course that is such a crazy contradiction. So what would you recommend for somebody like that?
They you know what they did? They told them, if you're doing time, you go take care of your own self.
Wow.
You see, that's what they do. It's an industry inside of an industry. Do you know inside of some of them walls, they got telecommunication companies that work with the prison to show them how to do telemarketing?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
just to be on the phone. They got a headset, be on the phone, calling up different companies, selling them ads in magazines. Yes. And so back to your point, Latifah, is that what they did is showed him a trade. He thinking that everything is rosy. He done did his time, he done paid his debt, he can go get a job. But what they don't show him, which I tell young men and women all the time, that this system is, like you say, it's kind of backwards. They tell us to go get an education, they tell us to get trained, and then they tell us to go work for somebody else. I would have told that young man or that young woman to start their own business. Yeah. Now you can evaluate who you want to work for you. If you want to take a urine test, if you want to take a background check, you understand? If you want to take an eye test or whatever, a comprehension test, whatever it may be, you can do that if you start your own business.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying?
So training also on this is in Chicago, the Howard and Evanston Community Center. I remember going there when they were training people who had come out of prison, people who had come out of doing time in jail, and they were training them on skills that they would be able to use and that would not be used against them that they had done time. They showed them how to fill out forms where they did not have to respond to that question and people could still hire them. Now, I don't know how much more advanced Howard and Evanston, it's on Howard on Salina Street. But this was one of those community centers where they actually trained former incarcerated people, former felons, and just people in the neighborhood who needed jobs. And there was one stepping stone. Now, this was years ago when the Chicago mayor had introduced jobs to teenagers who were still in high school. They gave them summer jobs that were stepping stones to full-time employment after they graduated high school. So Naima, you would know if they still have anything like that going on.
Well, a lot of those programs are missing, and this is probably why it's necessary for organizations like Omar's to develop apprenticeships and work opportunities and on-the-job training kinds of opportunities, so that can fill in the gap for what's missing in the schools and in other community organizations that used to have the funds to do that, and now the funds are gone and everything else, and the programs are gone, but there's still a need for that skills.
Do they?
Oh yeah, it's a great need, because I in 2000 I taught at Malcolm X how to start your own business, how to start your own construction class. And I wrote up the syllabus. I gave them the materials. They looked over them. And actually, I did that for 8 years over at Malcolm X. That's how I was feeding myself. That's how I was feeding my family. And out of that, I'm going to tell you, we got a lot of young entrepreneurs that have failed, made a mistake, and went behind the wall and got out and started their own business. Yeah. Melvin's one of them on the west side there, that he deal with real estate development, and he got a construction company. And there's a couple other ones that's out there that actually have done a great job with developing themselves and understanding about picking themselves up. So, what it really boiled down to is that the individual have to want to have it done. I feel so sorry about one of our members. His father comes in here in my office, and he has a son, right? He said, Omar, I really need you to help him. I don't want to lose him to the street. But I tell Mr. McDaniels, I said, first of all, Mr. McDaniel, you got to have a hard conversation with your kid. You got to figure out, is that something that he wants to do? You got to figure out what is his shortcoming. And I say, I would get you to where you're trying to go with him. Because see, people be quick to try to dump their problem on you and then try to make it like they ain't successful because you didn't give it the right attention. First of all, you got to make sure that the individual or that kid has the intent on rising to the top. And so what I mean by that, sisters, is that sometimes our
well, but to his point, because sometimes you can, well, they say you can you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Yes.
If a young person doesn't have the aspiration to work, no matter how much training you give them, they're not going to want to work. So now that's another point that I wanted to bring up about a lot of the different aspects of doing this kind of work. We got to take a break in a minute, but I wanted to throw this out here because more than a couple of years ago, I guess several decades ago, I created a marketing company for contractors. Basically, I trained a sales force to go out and do the things like, print out flyers and everything and talk to homeowners and say, what do you need? You need roofing, what in your house needs to be repaired. We can get you a contractor to come over. And it worked out, great idea. Okay, you got people getting commissions on the sales, and then you got, the person in the neighborhood that does the work. But where the hang up was all the different mistakes that the contractor made. Some of it had to do with pricing the job because maybe they underpriced it. They didn't consider everything.
You lose money on that.
You lose money on that. And then sometimes it was personal habits, showing up late or whatever the case may be, not prepared.
Yeah, regular life skills.
Yeah, so it was these kind of things. And what I observed is that a lot of these young men that were doing the work, they had maybe worked for somebody that handled all the stuff, but then once they tried to get their own business, they didn't have the training and the skills and the self-discipline to actually be successful at it because they had not been taught that. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I want to look at what are some skills that a person would need if they're going to take this contracting work and actually turn it into a business, what are some skills that they need to be taught? And are there places that would teach them how to manage your contracting business so that you price it right, you have the right skills, the right tools, and all those things, and you can actually make it as a successful contractor? So we'll be right back after a quick break. And if you're watching us on our Facebook or YouTube channel, we want to make sure that you get notices. So make sure you like and subscribe and hit that bell to let you know that every time we go live, you will get a notice, and you can tune on into 3 Black Moms, and we'll be right back. So stay with us.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're 3 Black Moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also 3 sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're 3 Black Moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, 3 Black Moms.
And we are back, and feel free to write in your comments on our Facebook and YouTube channels. And any questions, of course, we will pull them up on the screen. And we are here live with Omar Shareef, who is the president of the African American Contractors Association. So, Omar, tell us, you went into business with the skills that you used. What are some of the challenges that you face as a business person, and what are some of the things that somebody who may want to go into the contracting business and run their own plumbing company or electrical company, what are some skills they should have?
Well, I think the challenge that I ran into a lot, Naima, is that it was that I didn't really have all the supporting mechanisms that people have right now today. I did not have the support, but now I have the Chicago Urban League I stumbled up on, and they gave us some back office and front office support. But the problem I had is that no one really was trying to help you figure it out. You follow me? Hello?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they did. And so what I did, I'm gonna tell you, that's how the African American Contractor actually started, is that I say, if I ever be successful, I wanted to put together an institution that would be able to help men and women figure out some of the pitfalls that they may have getting off and running into a business. What I mean by that, they need to know how to get incorporated. They need to know what a federal identification number is. They need to know what Dun Bradstreet is. They need to know if they're doing non-for-profit. They need to know what SAM.gov is. And all of those particulars matter when you're trying to do business. But if nobody's telling you that, and they're trying to keep everything close to their chest and don't want you to be informed because they feel that you may be an upcoming threat to them, then you have to kind of stumble, fumble, bumble, and figure it out on your own. You follow what I'm saying? Absolutely. And so that's why ACA been in existence since 1989 by by trial and error. We have been able to help people without grants and funds. And we still here. Check it out. We're still here. Because I believe that if you got a goal and you're serious, God will do the rest. Almighty God is always present with every one of us. It ain't no selfish gods out here. So you got to understand that if God got something for me, he got something for you. It ain't just all to me.
Well, but that's a really good point that you make about there not being the kind of support. That is exactly the experience that I had. I was a enthusiastic young 24-year-old woman with a vision of, I'm gonna employ the community. I'm gonna employ people as salespeople. They're gonna sell these construction jobs, the contractors, and they're gonna do all the work. Oh, we're gonna just employ our whole community. I was just so on fire with that idea. And then the reality hit. First of all, like you say, a lot of information that you need about being in business is not available to us. We're programmed, get your degree out of college, you get your job with benefits, and you just work for the rest of your life. And nobody was sharing. And I even went to certain business people. It's like they would not share information, like you say.
That's what I'm saying. They feel like it's a threat.
Yes. And I'm thinking, you know what? I'm a young woman trying to, employ people and generate the income for all these various aspects of our community. And the support was not there. The information was not shared. And I learned a lot from trial and error. And when you're in business, every error means you lost some money. Yeah. So even with the construction trades, I didn't know anything. I knew how to train people how to sell stuff. So I was able to train some young people to actually go door to door, and people tell them, okay, I need somebody to come and paint this ceiling. Well, I need my cabinet fixed. I mean all these things. So we would get the job and then have the contractor come over and price the job. But there was a lot of things that, of course, if they messed up something, I can't go and fix it. I don't know how to install a cabinet. So that was the hard lesson.
I think
I need to know. So I need people to know how to price something. If they got the wrong materials, I wouldn't know.
And this is the thing I think that happens is that, I remember, Naima, you were young and enthusiastic, had this great business idea. But sometimes when we're young and we're enthusiastic, we don't know what we don't know.
You don't know what you don't know until you know.
And I mean, I think, and Omar, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think now there's a lot more information that people can get by using the internet.
Yeah, YouTube. You gotta training videos, everything.
Well, back then it wasn't there, but you still need some skills. Naima, you might have done better if you had a little bit more of a business background, even a minor in business or something. But now you don't necessarily, you can take a class, you can take a course, because this is about things that you don't need a 4-year degree about. So
that's right.
What would you say to, like I was saying, at one point, people used to have shop classes. I don't even know if a lot of schools do shop classes unless it's a technical high school or vocational high school. What are some of the trainings that people can do if they're good with their hands and they might want to have a skill? And we've got to think about people who want to do some work, and maybe they, like I said, maybe they're not a math brain, or they're not or not that kind of math brain. They don't want to be an engineer. They don't want to be a doctor. They don't want to be a journalist. Maybe they're good with their hands. They want to build things. What are some of the things that they can study even while they're in high school? What should they be looking for? And then when they come to you and say, okay, can I shadow you?
I would look for, when I was at South Shore, I was in the electrical department. And then sometimes you can't even be afraid to ask someone to mentor you. And that's how I learned from what Reverend Jackson do. That's how I learned from what Taylor Cotton did at the Chicago Urban League, representing affirmative action, and Jim Compton. My political part came from me being a young man as a president of Congressman at that time, Bobby Rush, at his ward organization, then became a chairman for him to run as Congress against Charlie Hayes, which we won that. And so I learned from those type of things. And you should not even be afraid to want to volunteer. Reverend Jackson always tells me that he said, Omar, you have a unique talent that you treated so naturally, you're gifted. And I just try to make sure whatever it is I do, I perfect it and try to do my very best at it.
Yeah.
And once you see that I put my real work in it. And so if you ladies right now today say, Omar, I need you to work on a project for me. If I give you my commitment, that project going to be done and it's going to be worked on until its completion. And a lot of us give up. You know, I always used to say that you got to be a thoroughbred, not a quarter horse.
I like that.
You got, you got to run to the finish line. You cannot run as if you going to give up. You know, and sometimes we in our mind do that. Sometimes our kids do it. And then sometimes as we get elderly and sick, we pushes the elderly to do more. But we know that if they do more, they would do it repetitiously out of practice. You follow what I'm saying? And so you have to tell people and help each other. And people say, you talking about me? I say, I'm not talking about, I'm trying to give you a pull-up, not a letdown.
Right.
Because I could have just let you fall right down the damn ground. I'm trying to pull you up to at least enlighten you or ask God to stimulate something in you to say, hey, listen to something that person's saying versus shutting me all the way out.
Yeah.
And you want to build those contacts different places. You can build good contacts at your church, your place of worship where people know one another. A lot of times I have heard that people get jobs by word of mouth.
Well, if you do a good job, then your reputation will help build. As a matter of fact,
your reputation will precede you. Absolutely.
Our customers through the church contacts that I had at the time, and all of that. But now this is the thing that would happen. You mentioned keeping your word and all of that. What would happen, unfortunately, on situations where we get somebody the job, they get the down payment money, and the thing is maybe they hadn't had a job in a while, so they take that down payment money, pay their bills, but then they didn't have enough to get the good quality materials or not enough materials, so they buy whatever cheap stuff, they get the job started and run out of money. Job's half done, and they're saying, well, pay me some more, and we're like, but the agreement on the contract, and this is how I learned how to write contracts, because I knew you had to have all the details. The contract says you finish a certain amount and then you get paid. You barely started, and then you disappear for a long time, and the work is still standing there, and the customer's going, what happened to my contractor? So that happened, several times.
Yeah,
and realizing
that happens, and that's why sometimes you have to have a report like with our organization and others that we can just kind of try to check them out as much as we can. You have to put that layer there. You have to have you have to have that layer there. You have to have that firewall there to protect yourself. You're not saying that the person is not honest. You're not saying that they're not trustworthy. You're saying that I just want to make sure whatever happened, I at least get in front of it versus behind me. You follow me?
Right. And Cheryl, you were mentioning about going to business school. Now, one thing that I observed, because my daughter right now, she does a program where she takes college business students abroad so they can learn international business. So on a college level, when they teach business, they're teaching more like large corporate business, and all of that. But what if you're just a guy who knows how to put in pipes and fix a toilet, and you want to make money from that? That those courses aren't going to really be geared toward the things that, like you mentioned, Omar, how do you get incorporated?
But a vocational
school or training company would do things.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that can help you on a smaller scale where you just need to be able to pay your bills with the skills that you have. So are there like Barbara was asking, are there still
programs and things?
Yeah, there's programs. I'm telling you, got Dawson Skills Center out there. You got there's quite a few programs out there that teaches and train people. I do know Kate Security has a program that deals with flagging, forklifting, first aid, and those type of things. So there are still strong programs out there. I know we did a lot of them before COVID hit. We don't do as many as we used to do. We are now moving into a whole nother gear, trying to deal with more business people, because we're finding that some of them are aging out, some of them are going bankrupt, and then some of them have lost the will to fight back.
Yeah.
Now,
And sometimes I hear that a lot of the time. That, man, I'm tired of fighting these people. I'm tired of fighting these white folks about this. I'm giving this up. I'm going somewhere where I ain't got to do all this fighting. But anything you do, you're going to have to struggle and fight, and out of hardship come ease.
right. Now,
Yeah,
another
yeah.
question I have, because a lot of industries, as technology changes, the industry changes, just like,
Mhm.
my industry, the communications business, where a lot of things change
Oh yeah.
technologically. And so if a person maybe started out in the business 30 years ago, just like now, you say, when you start out, you handed out flyers and that's how people got their information out. Now everything is, send
Electronic.
stuff electronic.
I want to look at your website. That's the
Yeah, right. So
we hire people, and we've hired people to, we get a couple of bids, 2 or 3 bids. They come to their house. They tell us what they can do. We want to look at your website. We want to look at your license. We want to look at other reviewers. We want you to come with references. All of those things are things that we need now. Before it's like, oh, okay, this person lives in the neighborhood, I'm going to trust them. But the
your
neighborhood
name on the flyer, yeah.
But see, that's even tricky.
Yeah.
It's real tricky. It's tricky because I have seen people put other people's information up on a website.
That's why when somebody asks for
You
references,
follow what I'm saying? I've seen them put other people work on the website. I was and they steal credit. I was just talking to someone this week about how people would take your stuff, the 3 months, and they would implement it somewhere else, and by the luck of God, y'all will find that somebody else then reduplicated your show, then branded it, then patterned it, and then take it to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? So there's some people right there in our web world right now, the wide world web, what we on now, and looking at your show and trying to figure out, and then go get some bigger money sponsor. Y'all will be sitting around having coffee or tea and stuff, saying,
No idea.
that ain't that show like the show we just had? You say, yeah, ain't that something? Yeah.
And that is that we also have
I'm saying you got rich people and people with deep pockets that guess what they don't have?
Ideas.
What you are doing. No, but you definitely that, but guess what they don't have? They don't have the ideas of 3 Black women coming together to deal with their solution because they were faced with it in their home or their house or in their community. Because they left themselves, they went and sat on the white snow-capped mountain and forgot about they had a reality of brown trees in the valley.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what you all are doing.
Absolutely.
You're recreating something that somebody left out.
Yeah.
You're saying let's have those hard conversations about our kids. Or let's have those hard conversations about Miss Marley kids. Let's have those hard conversations about what's happening in our community, in our churches, our places of worship. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
And don't think somebody ain't trying to see how they could package it up and sell it.
Ooh, that's true. Ideas, those are things that can be sold. That is true. That's why you
know that
ideas.
There are companies. That's right. There are companies that pay anywhere from $100 an hour to $250 an hour to $500 an hour. Guess what? To get your idea and my idea.
Wow, that's something to remember.
And I've been a benefactor of it. Yes.
So one of the
They
things,
say that.
well, you know, one of the things that like Short was saying about the website, where people tend to believe what they see on a website, but you're saying that people can take something they didn't do and put it at their name on it and get credibility from that. So how do you make sure that what you're seeing, if somebody's, oh, yeah, here's my website, and they're showing all these nice, beautiful homes that they've done and carpeting and none of it's there.
They don't show.
How do you?
They don't show you the name to back.
Oh, okay. So they don't give you the name, like you were saying, a reference.
They show you the picture. Then you be caught up in the picture that they don't show you that you could call that person or that lady and ask, did you actually do the work?
That's exactly right. That's what you do. You know, because a lot of times it's like with any job where, you know, you put out you interview,
your references.
you have your references. Sometimes, you know, people actually call those references.
Yeah,
that's right. And then sometimes they tell people to put the ones on there that they know they're out of business.
Oh, so they can't get a reference.
That's right.
Nobody.
It's a good name. It's a good name, but you can't get the reference from because they ain't in business no more.
Wow.
And if you can't talk to a person who actually did that job for them, then you don't use them.
Right.
Yeah.
Verification.
Yeah, but some of us don't. Some of us fall to the point of, oh, you work for IBM and you work for this, that, and the other. But they fall for that, but they don't check on it.
Check.
Yeah. That's,
you know, and it happens
with resumes that are fabricated because
y'all heard about that white boy that was a senator or a congressman made up his degrees. They did that. And that comes from white entitlement. Because I'm white, you think it's right.
Yeah, and nobody thought to check because
until he got in trouble.
Yeah,
got caught.
Yeah,
right.
That's one thing. So if it, like I said, you know, you check the website, but you check the website. You say, I want personal references. If I'm hiring you to do the cabinets in my house, because once we got the floors done, I looked at the cabinet and says, okay, you know how it is. You give a mouse a cookie. You know, so I want somebody to come in and say, okay, I want to do this. And maybe you don't want to go to Home Depot. Maybe you want to go to the cabinet people in your neighborhood, which you should if you can. But then you say, okay, who are your references? Let me see your work. And then you call those people and you talk to them. Well, you know, Jose or John or Jamarcus said that they did this work in their house. Were they on time? Did they come in, you know, did they come and try to stick you for more money? You know, did they do this? You know, and you ask those people and make sure that, you know, and you say, would you mind showing me? Because sometimes they'll just have their friends and they ain't done nothing. So you do a little bit more digging, you know, you do your diligence, and then we all help each other in our community.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's real talk.
Yeah. Now, one other thing, because you did mention a lot of times, and we know, you know, people might come out of prison for whatever reason but they got a skill and maybe they go into the construction business and maybe they do good work. How do they deal with a customer who might be leery of their background in that situation? What have you advised people that you have helped get into the business and they got a background? Is that something you shouldn't tell people, or what if they find out?
I would say just keep your mouth shut and do a good job.
See, that's what I would say. Because you know what?
You got some people that just love to run off at the mouth. And that is not what they should be. And I understand that some guys out there, man, I ain't scared to tell nobody I've been to the joint, I've been to jail. That is not the important factor here. The important factor is that they want to hire you to do a job, and that's it. And you do a quality job and keep moving.
Yeah.
But if you tell me all this stuff, you know, maybe I put you in the house when my husband's not here with me.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And you may doing the job for a judge. You may be doing a job for a police. That is not important. or what's in your background right now. What's important, you do a quality job, you make some money, and you ask them to refer you to another damn job.
There you go. That's how you get
That's
paid.
it. That's all.
Yeah.
That's what you worry about. You
Now
don't worry about that. You could talk about that stuff later on down the line when you're successful.
Yes.
It's like some of these crazy kids. They like to put. I always say they're addicted to ink. They want to put a sign on their face here. They want to do here. They want to do
tattoos
and then how in the heck are you going to be credible to be hired by somebody to interface with their major multi-million-dollar clients?
Yeah.
They precious
A
asset.
tattoo parlor.
Yeah. Looking like you addicted to ink.
I don't ask people.
And then don't even understand when you get older and your veins get smaller and they turning green. They can't find the damn ink spot or the damn vein to save your life.
Because you got colors all on it.
Yeah.
And if you and this is for people who, if they are doing time or whatever, be careful what ink you use, because I'm not going to ask you if you come to my house and you're and we're talking about you doing a job or redoing my floors. I'm not going to worry about whether or not you did time. Chances are I'm not going to even ask you. But if you got a couple of teardrops right here, you're not coming to my house.
Yeah, we know what that means.
I know what if you got some prison tattoos, you need to take care of some of that stuff, because you're telegraphing something that you don't need.
That's my point. My point. That's my point. That is my point. That is really my point. You don't need to do that. You bring yourself up. All you're going to do is sending out smoke signals that's on your body, and they're going to say, "What's wrong with me?" Yeah.
Wow.
And so those are real things that we have to, as good people, as human beings, as people of some moral reality, that we have to let our young men and women know that.
Yes.
We really do.
But before we go, since the African American Contractors Association is a resource where people may be able to get some apprenticeships or advice or training, how can they contact you? What's a contact information?
They can contact me at 844-915-5960, or they could call me on my personal cell phone at 312-446-5984. We're located at 514 East 95th Street. We're here from 9 to 5, Monday through Fridays, and sometimes Saturdays.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and
now,
I'd like to also invite you ladies. We're having our 31st annual membership award reception gala, March the 26th at South Shore Culture Center from 5 to 9. So if you have time, come by, wave, or network with some of the contractors, or even try to get a little bite or meet somebody new.
Ooh, sounds great. And give us that phone number again.
312 is myself, 446-5984. The office number is 844-915-5960.
Okay, now I need you to say that one more time slowly so I can type it in. The first number.
312 446-5984, 5984.
Okay.
And the other number is 844-915-5960.
5960. So that is 312-446 5984.
Yes.
And then
my email, if you need it, AACA-NATL-ASSOC@gmail.com. That's ACA National Association @gmail.com.
Okay, so it's AACA
NATL ASSOC @gmail.com.
@gmail.com. All right, so let me make sure I got this right. That's AACA NATL ASSOC @gmail.com.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see. African American. Okay, it's AAC. All
And
right.
you can feel to call me anytime if you need me for something or just need me to talk to somebody. I don't mind doing it if I may.
And the phone numbers were 312-446-5984 and 844-915-5960. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All righty. Okay. Well, there we go. And if you all are looking for a way to get your child a trade and you think they may want to enter the construction business, then contact Omar Shareef of the African American Contractors Association.
Yeah, that's
Thank you. And if they're serious, I would help them.
yes.
All right. Fantastic. Well, it's been great. We appreciate all the information that you have shared. And we hope that if you got a young person and they seem like they might have an aptitude for this, consider construction trade. Could be the answer. So
it'll take them from the ground to the suites.
All right. That's right. A nice income.
That's right.
All right. Well, we will see you all next
week.
Absolutely. And I know because I just paid my plumber and I know it's a good salary.
Thank you for helping.
Thanks so much for joining. And make sure all like
thank you, ladies.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And,
thank you. And you all have a blessed day.
I got more work to get
Bye.
done at the house. So
yes, ma'am.
All right.
Whatever I can do to help.
All right. We'll be talking soon. All righty. Well, we thank you all for joining us. Make sure you like and subscribe our YouTube channel and Facebook page, 3 Black Moms. And until next week, I'm Naima.
I'm Cheryl.
I'm Barbara. We are 3 Black Moms. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're 3 Black Moms.